Pop culture references, random Easter eggs, history facts, and things you could have gone your entire life without knowing. Here are 50 totally random facts about Clash of Clans, episode 17. If a totem from a totem spell is at a low HP, and it also happens to be standing on a spring trap, if another troop comes and activates that spring trap, the totem will be flung up into the air. This is because the totem is considered a troop to everything, and that also includes traps. Early concepts show that the Super Hog Rider was almost a hog and its rider running on a sidecar motorcycle. I'm kinda bummed we didn't get that. It makes you wonder what other cool stuff we didn't get. The background image of the battle screen is using a cropped section from the 2015 loading screen. Fun fact, by the time the ranked update came out, it was nearly the 10th anniversary of that image. That is why the Archer Tower specifically looks so strange. It's the old level 12 design. The builder-based Archer has a pose animation where you can see her breathing, like a normal human being, but for some reason the Barbarian does not. You've likely heard of negative gems, and in some rare instances, negative trophies, but what about negative gold? Yes, apparently it is possible, and although I'm not exactly sure what happened here, it was likely due to a refunded resource pack. The 2023 Dark Ages loading screen is a reference to this scene in the Lord of the Rings series where the hobbits are hiding from an enemy. I don't know, I never watched the series. But anyway, this is exactly what the characters in the loading screen are doing, except they're hiding from a dragon. According to developer Jonas in a 2013 interview, he explains the reasoning behind the P.E.K.K.'s name was just to give the biggest and baddest troop a funny name. He said, and I quote, like instead of calling it a samurai mecha droid or something, we decided to give it some random Finnish name. The Ice Golem and Giant share the same death sound. The amount of loot that can be stolen from a clan castle treasury is exactly 3%, no matter the level or town hall that is attacking or being attacked. Listen, I know this is old news to some, where you been, Havoc? But even I myself didn't know for years because the game doesn't tell you this. According to community manager Marco, one of the first ideas for Town Hall 18 was going back to Clash's roots and bringing back the medieval theme. This would occur after current designs were reset, so something would happen in the village where they needed to go back. However, a meteor crashing into the village seemed cooler and made the most sense for what they were going for. It's possible for meteor golems of different levels to merge. This then creates a meteor golem whose level and appearance is equal to the average level of the meteorites rounded down. So basically, two different level meteor golems can merge and change their level if needed. The wizard in the Frozen Wizard deco is frozen because he covered his mouth when sneezing and then he ended up in a deep freeze. This is a reference to the 2016 Clash-O-Rama episode called 12 Days of Clashmas.
A wizard in a deep freeze.
I covered my mouth to sneeze and then this. I like my powers. I don't love my powers.
According to developers, the builder base was never designed for special obstacles, which is why it never got any. However, they knew they wanted the glowy lantern in there, and according to them, it was a real challenge to code it in, so much that it almost broke the game. The Revenge Tower takes 13 days and 5 seconds to build, which is referencing Town Hall 18. 13 plus 5 is 18. Why though? The troop launcher was originally going to be called a command tower, and early concepts show that it did look like a tower that happened to have wheels behind it. However, as the concept progressed, it was known as the troop catapult and then troop launcher. If you look closely in the war events page, the names are situated on big arrows, which are pointing from the attacker's side to the defender's side. So whatever way it's pointing is who got attacked. This has been there for many years, but apparently this is just one of those useful things that isn't terribly obvious. They should make it a bit more obvious. And when you finally notice it, you'll never unsee it. The festival lantern, released in October 2025, is a reference to Diwali Day, a Hindu festival which was celebrated in the same month of the decoration this year, where they light these clay lamps in celebration of good over evil, and that is what the decoration is, one of those clay lamps. In the pixel scenery, the builders working on the clan capital forge are invisible and only a hammer is shown striking down. According to official lore, the meteor golem's home is in the cosmic castle located in the cosmic scenery, which was blown up. So that's how he ended up staying in the village permanently. If you train an army of all healers and go inactive for a long period, when you come back, your healers will be replaced with another army. This is because you cannot complete the re-engagement tutorial with just healers. And attacking Diggy can actually stun a defending wall before it attacks it with its partner. Nothing crazy, it just looks funny that a wall is being stunned because it doesn't do anything anyways. Yeah, that'll teach him. Pablo out here doing too much. The witch is responsible for creating the shrink trap, which apparently is a bottled up curse. You may be familiar with Moma or Mama. I actually don't know. People say it different all the time. I'm just gonna pick Mama. She is the final boss in the single player map, which is a giant P.E.K.K.A. that has some pretty crazy stats. However, Yo Mama has appeared before. You see what I did there? She was in the Inferno Town Challenge in 2021, and back then she was known as the Mega P.E.K.K.A. But it doesn't stop there, because all the way back in 2015, during a developer clan war, one of them was using a Mega P.E.K.K.A. Of course, all of these were slightly different in stats, but she's always been extremely OP. Former community manager Darian voiced 3 troops in the game before leaving the team. The Super Hog Rider,
Super Hog,
Hog Wizard, which I believe is just reusing some voices from the Super Hog Rider, and the Hog Glider, which actually had its sound changed. Before it was like a wee-hee sound. And I guess there is a 4th one, the Hog Raiders, but that one's just reusing sounds from the other ones. In the game's very early soft launch days, all of the obstacles took gold to remove. It wasn't just rocks, it was all of them. Bushes, trees, logs, and mushrooms. However, by the time the game globally launched, they switched all but the rocks over to require elixir. A scattershot's boulder can curve in the air, and it looks as illegal as it sounds. Your account can be deleted by Supercell for inactivity after 180 days. Though, this is incredibly rare, and I don't think many people should worry about this, especially how they welcome you back with tons of rewards and boost. It's unknown what exact circumstances causes this, but it has happened. The Alchemist uses a base conversion rate when converting resources, which is 1 dark elixir per 150 gold or elixir. Most bomb sounds in Clash of Clans are exactly the same and come from one place, the mortar. This includes the giant bomb, lava launcher, a bunch of the Town Hall Giga Bombs, and even the Mega Mine in the builder base. Did you know the log launcher has an attack animation? Usually you just see it rolling along and the logs come out with no animation whatsoever, but if the log launcher is stuck attacking a building, it will switch to its secondary attack that prevents it from being stuck too long. You can see the machine being pushed back a bit as it launches logs, and you can even see those cycling through. It's pretty cool. This is most commonly seen when a log launcher is stuck attacking a building under a overgrowth spell, because normally it goes through buildings in a couple of hits and it's really easy to miss or gets cut off early. On August 28, 2014, there was an event where wizards were cheaper and trained faster. During the event, the wizards in the clan castle had froze and their fireball was replaced with a rabbit. This was referencing 2 commercials that had been uploaded that day called Preparation, where the wizard is getting ready and we can see his fro, and Magic, where the wizard shows off some tricks and makes a rabbit appear. The cannon in the first goblin map, which is dealing 2 DPS, takes 1 hour and 49 minutes to defeat a maxed totem. Don't worry, this isn't just some math, I tested it myself. Of course though, I sped it up for your convenience. Full unedited video is linked down below. The Revenge Tower description, which states if you destroy its building friends, it will look for you, find you, and smite you, is a reference to the 2008 film Taken, when Liam Neeson says,
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
The 13th anniversary cake is the only one without the grass and mushroom patch under it. Literally unplayable. I'm about to uninstall right now. The Firemite has a secret icon image which can only be seen when it's recalled. It's not a secret, it's just only seen in a very specific scenario. It's a reused asset of the Fire Spirit in Clash Royale, but it is unique because it's the only subtroop to have a icon image. I think I mentioned in a previous episode that subtroops always look the same in a recall spell, well, with the exception of the fire match now. The mashup scenery really lives up to its name. Not only does it fit the whole mashup theme, but it's also a mashup of many different things. There are many references to old sceneries, like a UFO and these globe-looking things from the space scenery, clams from the Dragon Palace, and probably the most obvious one is the ruins from the Egypt scenery. There is definitely more, but this scenery also contains music remixes from old sceneries, like a remix to the Goblin Caves and the War Machine scenery. The Sketch Summoner decoration, like other Super Decos, have different versions of itself, which are all referencing existing decorations and obstacles like the Dragon Statue, Builder Statue, the 2012 Beta Stone, a regular big tree, and the P.E.K.K.A. statue. Even though the Eagle artillery is modeled after an eagle, its activation sounds resemble a red-tailed hawk, not an eagle. But this is pretty typical for games and movies to get wrong. Every time you hear an eagle anywhere but real life, you're likely listening to a red-tailed hawk instead. And it all comes down to the eagle just not sounding as cool. You don't got the lungs for it, man. We hired somebody else. Currently, the longest scenery music, including its background sounds, is that of the Clash of Dragons scenery, which contains 4 different tracks which total up to 7 minutes and 35 seconds. Now, you're probably expecting the Year of the Snake scenery to be the second longest, but no, that's the third. The second longest is from Hog Mountain, coming in at 7 minutes and 23 seconds. You are likely familiar with these snacks, right? But those could have been totally different. Early concept art shows many different iterations that the artist tried before deciding on the final ones, like a chicken leg, cheese, donuts, cupcakes, and my favorite, a piece of buttered toast. The research potion has 2 different designs, the purple one we all know, and this one. Yes, when the research potion was added, its design in the boost army button was totally different. It was like this blue potion with a blank white tag on it, which looks very similar to one of the scrapped potion designs found a while ago in the game files. It remained this way for over a year after release, and then they swapped it with the purple one. This is what it looks like to buy every skin and scenery in the game at once. Well, I think at least most of them. The villager originally had more voice lines, or sounds, which is really talk, that were never used. This was likely the result of trimming down the tutorial so that it wasn't so long, but we don't know for sure, it could have been anything. Before release, the Heroic Torch was called the Olympic Torch during its testing stages, and it was originally meant for the Barbarian King. This was later reworked into the Heroic Torch for the Grand Warden in July 2024, where it allowed troops to jump over walls, and it was in this season where it was supposed to come out, but it didn't. There was even a reference to it in the loading screen, but I guess things didn't work out. Then it ended up getting reworked again in 2025, where it allowed troops to walk through walls instead of jumping over them. It was then when it finally released. Surprisingly, goblins actually deal more damage than a barbarian when attacking regular buildings, even though barbarians have a sword and goblins are just using their hands. The meteor obstacles have names: the Shimmering Stone for the starry one, Pulsating Stone for the shiny one, and Glowy Stone for the glowy one. These were supposed to be their names in the game, however they weren't as obvious as they should have been for players who wanted to remove them, and so they ended up changing their name to be ore specific. In the old days, buildings used to smoke after taking so much damage. However, this was short-lived, and it was likely removed for the same reason the waterfall was: hardware limitations and trying to make the game run smoother for as much players as possible. Hero skins used to come out every month, and not always back to back in terms of sets. So if you wanted to complete a set, it might have took you months or years depending on when the individual skins came out. However, this streak ended with the Pixel set, the first one to have all 4 available the same month. Defending Root Riders cannot destroy walls, despite that being one of their main mechanics. I mean, this makes sense though. You wouldn't want your own troops to be destroying your own walls, right? The Clash of Clans clan tournament used to be called Master Tournament, and it would last 1 week, and all of the rewards were split between the top 10 players from those clans. Today, it's known as just Clan Tournament, and lasts the same amount of time as a trophy season, 1 month. Because of these changes, they had to increase the gem rewards dramatically, but they have also changed who gets the gems over time, from the top 10 all the way to the top 30. They don't make them like they used to, literally. But yeah, those are 50 random facts about Clash of Clans, and as you can see, random they were. But no matter how random they get, I always have a good time hunting these down. I mean, who doesn't love information that you'll probably forget in 1 hour? I hope you guys are finding these as fun to watch as I do creating these. With that said, YouTube thinks you'll like this next video, so why don't you check it out? As always, see you guys in the next one. Peace!